Welcome back to Goddess Knuckle Balon Chronicles 888. How are you guys doing? I'm gonna start off with the messages for the divine feminine energy. So we're gonna go ahead and repel, get out of here. Evil eye, you don't belong. And I'm just gonna ask for divine protection for the spiritual messages for the divine feminine energy. I'm using my She Is cards. If you're new, welcome to the channel. Always clearing the energy. Because you never know what's around. What's going around. That's better. You can see me. It was looking kind of dark. Okay. I'm liking this chocolate brown. I think it brightens me up. Versus being a brunette or jet black. I mean, you know, that is what comes out my scalp, but I just feel like this is... Alright, the messages for the luminous spiritual ones and the divine feminine energy. She is. I'm using my She Is cards. And let's see what's the message for the divine feminine energies. Let's see what's going on. What is the message for the divine feminine energy? What is the messages? All right. First one came out. I can ask for help. Okay. Healing looks like a card about personal signs of healing, about the moments when we feel a little more whole. I can ask for help. I like that. Let's see. What does healing look like for the collective? What does healing look like for the collective? Excuse me. I was around a lot of germs in the hospital. I feel like, I hope I ain't got the cooties, because I had caught my grandson's cold the last time, and I do not feel like being sick. So let's rebuke that. Okay. I can ask for help. What does healing look like for the collective? What are the signs that show? And what helps heal? Okay. Let it change. Let it change. So you have the butterfly. You're evolving. Let it change. Yes. A card about allowing change to come. About the absence of control and the ability to accept the new. So, healing looks like the absence of control and the ability to accept the new. Okay. And why does the collective have to let it change? Why does the collective have to let it change? Oh. shadows. You have to let it change because of shadows. A card about the moment when we hide ourselves. Masks aren't always wrong. Sometimes they protect. But it matters to know, am I hiding or am I living? All right. So I'm noticing it's like I always say a pattern. It's yesterday's message was healing. But it was saying you're in control. And this one is about protection. So you're hiding. Confirmation. So I'm going to go ahead. I was going to do a 5-card lay today for the Divine Feminine Energy. And why is the collective putting on a mask? Why is the collective putting on a mask? Why are you hiding? And when do I put on a mask? Who do I put on the mask for? Nope. 2 fell out. So the first one, I'm putting on a mask. So I ask, when do I put on the mask? The fire within. I put on the mask because I'm ready to fight for inspiration and my inner fire. It rewards not speed but rhythm. One's own pace and direction. So what sets the fire within? Loneliness. Loneliness can be painful. Loneliness. Loneliness can be painful, but it can also be a state of openness, a deep connection with my inner world. Sometimes we choose to be alone, sometimes we need it. Okay, so let's see. Let's see the overall. I can ask for help because I'm letting in change. I let in change because I still hide in the shadows. I hide in the shadows because of the fire within. I am ready to fight for deep connection. I'm ready to fight for openness. So let's go right to left, and then I'm going to go left to right. Loneliness. Look, searching for a deep connection within your inner world. You're ready to fight for inspiration and your inner fire. You're hiding in the shadows. But also, it's okay to protect your energy. So that's what it is with the mask. Masks aren't always wrong. Sometimes they protect. Okay, so you're setting boundaries. And the butterfly. Absence of control and the ability to accept the new. And it's okay to ask for help. And it's about feeling whole. Okay, so feeling whole, accepting the new, hiding in the shadows to protect yourself, but you're ready to fight for the fire within. And you do it in your solitude. So I get it. This is just like the last message. Sit in your stillness to find your inner peace. It's okay to protect your energy, but embrace the new, and it's all right to ask for help. And that's the message. That is the message for the divine feminine energy. Ask for help. Letting the change like a butterfly evolve. Hiding in the shadows to protect. Setting boundaries. You're ready to fight for your inner peace and your inner fire, your inspiration. And it's okay to be lonely because you need to silence and soothe and connect. Be more open. Sometimes we choose to be alone, and sometimes we need it. So that is the message for the divine feminine energy. And that is the end of that message. So deep connection. Sit still in peace. Listen to your inner wisdom and let it guide you. Sometimes you need movement. So it's basically just self-reflection. Self-reflection. That's the energy. Self-reflection. Inner peace. It's okay to protect your boundary. Yeah, that's the message for the divine feminine energy. Becoming, belonging, and being. And peace, love, and light to the spiritual beings, the luminous ones, the ones on their healing journey. Okay, so I'm gonna end that and then I'm gonna do a story time. So I said I was gonna tell you guys what happened to my grandson. So basically, my grandson, he had tippy toes. So it's like it's a term, not a medical term, but they usually call it like ballerina feet, where somebody's just walking on their tippy toe. Their whole foot is just basically on the tippy toe, like no sole, no ball of the feet, just on the tippy toes. And he got some corrective boots, and so when my daughter had to leave, she came here, and she was looking for a pediatrician. And so for some reason, these pediatricians don't have tools to remove the boot. So I was telling her, because it's had been on for a while, and I was like, just for hygienic reasons, let's get it off, because he wants to play in the pool. It's hot and things like that, and he wants to be free. And he was only supposed to keep it on for a certain amount of time. So the time was up by the time she came. So he went to the hospital, and the lady, the medical professional, said that she was gonna, try to help get it off. And she said she didn't have a proper tool, or I don't know what happened, if it wasn't sharp enough or whatever. But what have you, she cut into his skin. And I'm talking about it because I don't know if that's confirmation or what, or it's telling me that it's okay to share. But basically, I'm talking about it because she tried to play in my daughter's face, like, oh, why would you come here and not get it removed before you come? First of all, when life is life and you have an emergency, there's no way that you're gonna be able to navigate and do things all at once. It wasn't planned. It was something that was like, it was sporadic. So we had to end up, well, first of all, we didn't even know. So he was limping and everything. He's so strong. So we really didn't know what was going on. And basically, she cut him on his shin. She cut him by his toe bone. I don't know what that bone is called. Let me see if I can, so I can explain and not sound foolish. But let's see the foot bones. That's what I'm put foot bones. The anatomy. And let's see exactly. Okay, so there's that bone that connects to your ankle, where it's like a bridge. And this terminology here, I guess it's called the lateral cuneiform. And then you have your intermediate cuneiform, which connects coming towards your heel. So right before you hit the ankle. And she cut him, so she cut him on the shin, she cut him on that the lateral cuneiform, and then she cut him on his calf, the back of his foot. So I was livid. I was livid because we wouldn't have known, because it ended up breaking apart from her cutting the cast open. So he had a wound that was starting to get infected, but we wouldn't have known because it was still in the boot, the corrective shoe. And I couldn't believe it because I said to myself, what in the world is going on? If you don't know something as a medical professional or any kind of professional, if you don't know something, it's okay, because we're human beings, we're learning. You make a mistake. If we don't know something, just admit it, and say, I don't know, maybe you should let him go somewhere else. Because what ended up happening is that he's so traumatized. He was screaming at the top of his lungs. They were holding him down. It was like two nurses and her and this medical professional, which is probably, she's not even a doctor. She's probably a physician assistant, because that's a lot of the times. Then I found out it's not a teaching hospital, so she's not a resident or learning or what have you. But anyway, she took it upon herself to try, and then she said, oh, I'm not getting it off and I don't want to hurt him. Girl, you already hurt him. But how I feel that higher forces sometimes, my daughter was able, no, she got a phone call. I was going to word that incorrectly. She got a phone call. So obviously somebody had guilty conscience because they called her. But when she called back, they act like they didn't know anything. So I feel like there was a cover up. Anyhow, when I seen it, we went straight the next morning. And I went with her to find out if we can file a grievance and see what's going on. What's the person's name in case of legal proceedings and things of that nature. But lo and behold, they gave us a phone number. So we got the number. I called. It was risk management department. Some gentleman that is going to talk to the medical director about the situation. So now I'm just like, oh my goodness, I'm feeling bad because I'm like, I was telling her to hurry up and get the cast off. I felt like, I'm hoping none of my bad juju went on my grandson, or because people try to harm your whole family and do things, and they try to hurt your children as well with these evil things that people are conjuring up and doing stuff to people's, trying to mess up people's livelihood or disturb or create chaos and confusion. But I just feel like, oh my God, why did this happen to my grandson? I was so livid, I'm not gonna lie. But I held my composure and I just was saying to myself, why didn't they ask to see and assess the situation and take their own photos? But that wasn't the case. So we ended up taking him to Children's Hospital, and they were able to help. Now he had to get stitches, and now he has permanent scars on his legs that, he's 3, so over time they will fade, but it's still a tragic thing because he felt that saw go into his skin, and that's why he was screaming. And I don't know, like, what is the hatred so bad about when, you know, some of us as people of color go to the emergency room, but and we get bad treatment, and it was like she didn't care because he's a black little boy, and then she had the nerve to add insult to injury to tell my daughter, well, you should have got it off before you came here. What? So that's your response because you made a mistake and you're mad that it didn't work out, but everybody knows when you're cutting something, if you hit something that wasn't supposed to get cut. That's just a given because we have sensories in our body that tells you, uh-oh, I made a mistake. And you know in your mind you made the mistake. But the fact that she tried to throw it off because of guilty conscience, I'm telling you, God bless her. Because I'm telling you, I'm going to make sure that, we get to the bottom of this and he gets some compensation because it could have affected his mobility, his balance, and his gait. And then, thank God it didn't cut any nerves, no tendons or tissues to cause nerve endings. And I really hope as he gets older that is not a factor in his foot or will cause, because sometimes things don't pop up right away. I remember getting hit by a car when I was 13, and I didn't start, even though I had the pain at that particular time, but now that I'm an adult, I have constant lower back pain from injuring the pelvic bone, my spine, because I had to sleep on a headboard. I was walking with a cane. It was just really terrible. So I still could feel some nerve endings. But I just said, my God, the wickedness and the evilness. Because then she says at the end, we'll send you the bill. So you thought you was coming up on a cut. No, for cutting open the boot, but you didn't actually cut. You actually did more damage than helping, and then you say, "Oh, the bill is coming." What? So initially, you just thought about the dollar bill to cut the cast open and not think about the child's well-being. And a child at that age, they're fidgety. So they're moving around. They're not going to be still. And so when we were explaining it to the other medical professionals at the children's hospital, they were playing in our face, stating the obvious, saying, well, we weren't there, so we don't know. Of course you weren't there. Why would you even say that? So I guess it's the Hippocratic Oath where they didn't want to, say anything negative or what have you. But the simple fact is that she made a bad call and she shouldn't have. If you don't know something, just say you don't know and then say we can't service you. But to do something because you're thinking about a dollar for the procedure that's taking place and you did more damage. But I know higher forces is in charge, God of all. So I know my grandson will be vindicated. But I just wanted to share you and just show you the wickedness of how some people hate and have the negligence and don't think human first and say, wait a minute, let me evaluate this. This is a baby. Um, Maybe I shouldn't, or I should just let mom, tell mom I can't help, assist. But then you're being sarcastic and adding on. So I just wanted to share that with you guys because it's very sad, and that's what had me a little bit melancholy and just kind of just had me in a slum in a way because I'm just like my poor grandson. He's now traumatized. He does not even, he wanted to get out of the hospital so bad. Like he was so, he threw himself down after the procedure. And we were like, no, because, we don't know if he's hurting himself, but they said everything was fine. They closed it up. They irrigated the wound, the laceration, because there were some of the um, cast fibers that fell into the wound. And he's a fast healer, thank God. So by the time it cracked open, it was like his body was already trying to reject the infection. Poor baby. And I just brought it up because you see, it is it is a spiritual world. Um, he Prior to us taking him to a hospital, um, my oldest was dropping him off, and he was crying, like he cried, like almost like a warning, and he kept looking back, and we don't be sometimes, to pick up on things we don't really know. But I just was like, wow, that was this. He did not want to go in there, and he went in there, and he got hurt. Excuse me. I just want to say, be careful. I sat in the hospitals around all those germs, but I wanted to be there for her to support my daughter, and then also to make sure that things was done properly. So I guess because we were telling what happened, because they always ask mad questions. It's always somebody else coming in. There's a new shift. There's somebody. Oh, what happened? Same. You just keep repeating. Like I don't know if they want to see if this story is gonna change. But anyway, that's what I wanted to just share with you guys, and that if it wasn't for me believing in a higher power and trying to keep my daughter calm, and then be nurturing and calm for my grandson, I don't know what would have happened. But thank God that it broke open for us to see before he had got gangrene, or his nerve endings would have been damaged or what have you. But I really hope he's vindicated. I really hope that everything works out. But yeah, I just wanted to share with you guys. But peace, love, and light again. Um, if you have a loving family, love your family. If you're not in a loving family, get away. And but if you do, take care of the little ones, take care of your loved ones. Always try to be there for them, especially if they're supportive and they're behind you all the step of the way. I try to do that as well, and I've shared a couple of stories, especially with my youngest one. So, um, yeah, that's it, guys. Just pay attention and be careful with these health facilities and these hospitals. Like, sometimes I just feel like they don't, you know, I just feel like they just there to keep us sick, or some people, there is some needs to go to the hospital. There is need to have health care and check your body. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say don't go to the doctor. I'm just saying that be careful with your providers, be careful with your physicians. Look in deeply. If you see something that's going on wrong, and run out of there as quickly as you can, because these people are like playing God in a way, because they're learning from a textbook. I'm not trying to disrespect nobody's profession, but you're learning from a textbook, and then you're going with your eye, and sometimes it's like a gamble. You don't know what's gonna happen. So a lot of the times I feel like, that's why I always believe in a higher being, because I feel like God was there, and the screaming and the fidgeting helped for her not to cut him any more and do more damage. Thank you, God. So it's 3:33 on the clock. I already kept you guys too long, but yes, that was the She Is message for the Divine Collective. Um, look within, silence your mind, protect your energy, and keep the fire burning. And again, peace, love, and light. Peace to beautiful spiritual beings. Shine in your power. Later.